just, to me, it just seems like they've got to be going somewhere else. And that's why I think it was so useful to have Ron Moorhead out there, because he's just sort of considered all the avenues already and had so many experiences with these things that, you know, it's nice to hear it from a reasonable person who's well studied and researched. And, you know, he's not fanatical. He's not a crazy person, you know, waving his arms. You know, he's sitting there calmly saying, this is what we have in front of us. So sometimes it has to be the thing that you think it is.
And why not? It's allowed to be. It's allowed to be. Larry has a question for you, and I'm going to ask a couple more questions before we flip topics here. Don't Bigfoot stack boulders to mark their territory?
See, that's something I've read. It's not something that I noticed out there. And I saw rocks that seemed out of place, and I saw rocks that were in one place one day and in another the next, you know, that have been slightly shifted, you know, either up the beach or down the beach or whatever. But I never saw like rock towers. We did see other indications that felt like territorial markings. I mentioned the bark rubbings, the bark scrapings in that one area. The guys ended up calling this spruce tree the creepy tree or the spooky tree because it was so weird. And it just had an energy all its own, and it had all these indications of something big scraping this bark off. So stuff like that was there. We also saw lots and lots of X's in tree structures. So places where trees would not have fallen naturally in an X shape, you know, would sort of form barricades across game trails. So that to me read like a marking of territory, or at least an attempt to direct traffic either to or away from a certain part of the forest.
All right, let's move on to another question here from Digger Dog. Did any of the group see any unexplained lights, orbs, or let's call it UFOs?
Yes. I'm so glad for that question, because this has been on the top of my mind all day. So there's 3 that stand out. So there was a night that the cast went into the forest without the camera crew, because they felt like we had too big of a footprint and we were going to be too loud, you know, too hard to move around. They wanted to actually sit and try to hear what they could hear. And you can see this clear as day in their footage that they filmed with their own cameras. One of the guys was 100% sure he saw eye shine, like the light reflecting off of something's eyeball, you know, like what hunters describe. And to me, it resembles an orb, but it's in deep woods. So there's nothing flying around in this tree. It is as dense a canopy as you're going to find up there. So there's nothing flying freely. That one could not have been a UFO. We saw something similar to that the same night we did the speaker experiment with Ron Moorhead. We're just looking at the trees, and there's something, a pulse of light, probably about the size of, a volleyball or something like that, just right behind the immediate tree line, like less than 10 feet in, kind of moving back and forth behind the trees. And I saw that, and I know at least one of the camera guys saw it, and Kyle, the bear guard, saw that as well. And that was right in the aftermath of playing those sounds. So the one that is probably the most compelling for your listeners, I never saw it. I watched these episodes 100 times by the time they make it to the airwaves when everybody else gets to see it, because we don't want to catch any mistakes, like me walking around in the background of a shot or something like that, which the camera team will probably complain about, you know, privately. But there's a shot where Keith and Kyle are on the beach and they're talking, and you can see in the horizon, it's still like the last bits of daylight. You can see a flashing a light hovering. I couldn't even estimate how high off the water. The shot does not change. We stay on the exact same camera shot. The light's there, and then it's just not. And it is undeniable. I encourage everybody to go look at the most recent episode. And they're there, they're talking. The camera does not change. It is very clearly one shot, and the light's there, and it's pulsing, and then it just vanishes.
Oh man!
So that was the craziest one that we got kind of solid video evidence of it. Because it's not like the thing doesn't just like fly off and go out of sight. It's there in one spot for the duration of the shot, and then it's just not.
Wow. Brian Kniffel is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Brian, you also worked on Blind Frog Ranch, and we'll get to that in a second, but I got one more question for you regarding Alaska Killer Bigfoot. Are you going back? Is there going to be a season 2 in that area, or are you going to find a new area?
I hope to do a season 2. I mean, there's still a lot more for folks to see in the final 2 episodes. It got pretty intense out there. But I think despite the sort of more negative experiences that everybody went through, I think people still want to see it through. People want to see if there's a way where people can live out there. And it's my understanding that that's the sentiment from the people in the village in Nanwalek. So as long as they want us there, as long as they want the help, getting people out there, keeping people secure, that kind of thing, then we would be open to it. Getting that backing from Discovery will only come from folks turning out to watch and checking it out and kind of demanding it of them. So if anybody likes the show, tweet to Discovery, tell them you want more, because that's our best bet for getting a season 2.
Well, we got to get them to also open it up in Canada as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I just found out my mom couldn't get it in Northern California, so it's not it's not an international thing. It's just a matter of distribution deals. So we'll figure out. We'll try to work on some kind of workaround for our Canadian friends.
I hope so. All right, let's talk about the Blind Frog Ranch. I mean, everybody's so familiar with Skinwalker Ranch, yet there are these other ranches across the United States and around the world who seem to have this type of phenomena happening as well, one being Blind Frog Ranch. Tell us about this place.
So, just for 100% clarity, I did the first season of Blind Frog Ranch, and that's all that's aired so far. They actually are still working away and investigating out there. They have a new season starting tomorrow. So super interesting, guys, super interesting place. So if you're into UFO content and crazy stuff, I would definitely check it out. This ranch is in northeastern Utah. The closest town, if you want to look at it on a map, is called Vernal. And they are, as the crow flies, roughly 15 miles from Skinwalker Ranch. Not super easy to get around quickly out there, but they are in the same vicinity. So if there's something flying overhead at Skinwalker, it's also flying overhead at Blind Frog. So basically a lot of the reports that happen at Skinwalker, there's a very similar story coming out of Blind Frog. There's gold miners up there that have seen stuff. These guys are all...
Socks are the #1 most requested item in homeless shelters. Underwear is the second, shirts are third. At Bombas, socks were first, made with comfortable details for everyday wearing. Then underwear and shirts too, all designed to perfectly fit. At Bombas, every item you purchase means you're donating an essential clothing item to someone in need. One comfortable clothing item for you, one donated to someone in need. Bombas, comfort for all. Get 20% off your purchase at bombas.com/comfy.
Finding the right person for the job isn't easy. Just ask someone who hired their personal trainer as a caterer.
All right, folks, let's keep this line moving. You there with the tongs. Picking up one Duchess potato at a time will not cut it at my catering table. Drop and give me 50.
But if you've got an insurance question, you can always count on your local Geico agent. They can bundle your policies, which could save you hundreds.
Okay, this is what we call the wild mushroom and asparagus dip, and press. Come on, let's get those plates above your heads.
For expert help with all your insurance needs, visit geico.com/local today.
So hunting for gold out there. That's the primary reason for being there. But ever since they arrived, there's just been this onslaught of UFO and extraterrestrial activity that is pretty insane. Like, I had never had what I considered to be a UFO experience until I was there. And it seemed like it was nonstop. So Chad, one of the guys on that show, he had these really high-end night vision goggles. I don't know what the magnification is. He could tell you about it. But you just point your eyes to the sky, and it was like a pinball of stuff. It is just insane how much activity there is in the sky up there, and it is not shooting stars. These are things making deliberate turns at varying heights above the Earth. you'll watch something move across the sky and stop, turn around, and go back the other way. And I know I've never seen a shooting star do something like that. Dwayne, the owner of the ranch, he talks about an experience. He saw a very close to Earth UFO, I think he calls it a spaceship, approach the ranch and just stop above this one area of the ranch. And he said when it came in, it was cloaked in what looked like clouds. And then it cleared and was perfectly visible to him. And he says, sober as a judge, saw it. It just sat there and then went away. And he stands by it. He'll tell you, swear on whatever you ask. That's what happened to him.
Oh, I love it.
It's the other thing that's bizarre there that I should mention that this place is kind of becoming famous for. They have one area of this ranch that Dwayne calls the energy zone. And for whatever reason, he's able to create metal out of nothing, like a modern day alchemy. So we did an experiment out there where we scooped up dirt from this one part of the ranch, and we tested it with a professional geologist and really high-end tools like X-ray fluorescence, which can scan a bag of dirt and tell you every element that's in it. These are tools that are many thousands of dollars and are used in mining and oil exploration and all that. So they're legit. Anyway, they tested the bag of sand that they dug up. No sign of silver or platinum or iridium or anything like that in the sand. They heat all the sand up in a crucible and liquefy it, and it spits out a metal chunk at the end of this experiment. And when you test the metal chunk, there's iridium and silver and platinum in it that was not there when I have no clue how it happens. But we did it multiple times from different parts of the ranch, and it happened each time. And Dwayne insists that there's something very special about this one part of the ranch that is, superior energetically, and he thinks that might be part of why there's so much UFO activity there.
Does he get a lot of skinwalker activity there too?
Oh yeah. And he's friendly with those guys too. They kind of share information, not for TV purposes, but they're all kind of after the same goal, right? They want to know what the heck's going on.
No, I'm saying, does he seen actual skinwalkers on his property?
That I don't know. I'd have to ask him. So they've been out there working again this year. I wasn't able to do season 2 because I was in Portlock, but I'm still friendly with the guys at Blind Frog Ranch and also the guys who make the TV shows. So I can probably find out. I know that when I was there with them, more than once there were mutilated deer that showed up. So we know that there's bears out there. There's also wolves in certain times of the year. So you can never rule that out. But typically, bears and wolves would eat.
They're ripping apart a carcass.
There. Yeah, and not leave much behind. And they were finding, deers just shredded apart that looked like they had been maimed. And the meat's still there. But in one case, I think the entrails were pulled out. Like it looked like something had gutted the inside of it. So I don't know if they've seen it or not, but they've definitely seen the signs.
Wow. My friend, we have less than a minute here left with you, and I could share stories with you all night long, man, and listen to your stories of what you filmed. Absolute pleasure. Do us a favor, Brian. Tell everybody where they can find Alaskan Killer Bigfoot once again.
So Alaskan Killer Bigfoot is presently exclusively available on Discovery Plus. They have a channel on Amazon Prime, so you can access it that way if you use that platform. Eventually, we think that it will air on linear cable on Travel Channel, but that is not confirmed at this point. So that could be coming. But for now, Discovery Plus is the way.
All right, my friend. You and I are going to talk soon because we got the Nahanni Valley to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
But I appreciate you taking the time for our audience on Spaced Out Radio here. I hope you had a great time. Thank you so much, Brian. Coming up next, Yes, the Swamp Dweller is back with another spooky story. Dave versus Dave. Then at the bottom of the hour, Dave 101, Shirky Poo's news, and the thought of the Dave. Lots of Dave action happening in hour number 3. Next on Spaced Out Radio. We're clear, man. Great show.
All right.
Great
Right on,
show.
Dave. That was fun.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. It's been a good day today. Been a good day. I talked to one of my radio station owners, and we took over their nights in 2020, and I think it was March or April of 2020, we started broadcasting. They were averaging 50 listeners a night on their station. And in their latest projections, since we took over the night, we're close to 10,000 listeners a night on their station. Yeah.
Good for you, man. That's awesome.
She's like, the owner today, actually, she told me, she goes, that we were one of the best decisions she's ever made in radio.
Yeah, that's great. That's a badge of honor.
Yeah, I'm pretty. My jaw just about dropped. So.
Well, shoot, anyone would kill for that kind of growth. So, and to reach that many sets of ears, that's killer.
Well, it bleeds into Toronto too, so that's good. And in that Ontario area, that southern Ontario area. So I'll call that a good day. I will call that.
Yeah, man, that's big news. I hope I didn't let you down at the end of the day.
No, dude, you were amazing. We got to bring you back. I do want to hit you up for some contact info for people from Blind Frog, though, and I'll get I'll get Kate to reach out to you on that. And Ash here, who's in the chat room, he was going to email me his info, which there it is. So I will get chat with him about bringing him on to talk about some Bigfoot too. But I really appreciate getting to know you, Brian. Class dude,
Likewise.
man. Class dude, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, this was fun, man. I could talk shop like this all day long.
Oh, yeah.
So
we will. The best part about it is this is my show. I get to do what I want.
Oh man, that is the best part.
Exactly.
Even when a show's mine, I don't totally get to do what I want. So.
Yeah, no, that's the good part. And, we'll get to it soon. I got to let you go because I got to set up here for the next half an hour. But thank you so much. What a pleasure, man. And we'll talk soon, okay?
Thanks, Dave. I'm just going to click out of the studio here.
All right, buddy. Take care. All right, there's Brian Niffle, everyone. What a great show that was. That was so much fun. Like, do you not want to go up there to Alaska and go hang out with that crew and see what they're doing? Hot damn, that sounds like a good time. It really does. Holy cow. Holy cow. I'm like pumped up over that. Like I want to go. Totally want to go. Stick around, everyone. We have lots of show left for you tonight on Spaced Out Radio, so you definitely want to keep on joining us. You know, that's what we do around here. Make it kind of fun. It's all about the woo, people. All about the woo. Oh, shoot. Where is it here? Let's see here. Let's close that. Got a couple of seconds here. And where's that story here? Like that. We're good. Shirky Poo's news is ready. Oh, yeah. We're going to have a good hour here, guys. Good hour. It was a great guest, Jules. You're right. Fantastic guest, Brian Niffel. Big thank you to Spookles the Cat for a fantastic booking there. And the guru, crypto guru, Ronald Murphy, for recommending Brian to us. That's just awesome. Up next, we're going to go into the swamp, hear a story from Swamp Dweller, then it's Dave versus Dave, then the Dave 101, and then Shirky Poo's news, Thought of the Dave. Lots of Dave action. I didn't realize they named everything Dave. Kind of narcissistic, I think. I don't know. That's just me. Be like Lizzie. Smash that like button. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell if you don't mind. We are here 7 days a week. I'm here Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern time. And then Lynn Wallington takes over the interviews on Saturday and Sunday with Spaced Out Weekend starting at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. After her show, or 8 p.m. 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And then after her show, we go to After Hours with Gemma Jade, Big Willie, and John Hudson. You want to check them out. Big thank you tonight to Smithy, Fabster, Terry, Dry Toast ×2 for the amazing super chats. It really helps out what we are doing on a nightly basis here on Spaced Out Radio. So thank you so much for the love. We really do appreciate it. We appreciate all the veterans tuning us in as well. Always have a safe home here on Spaced Out Radio. And here we go.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. We say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free once again. Yeah, they're on YouTube, as well as any major podcast forum. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Raconteur. Raconteur is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. And once again, our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. All right, people, it is that time once again where we bring in the man, the myth, and the swamp-dwelling legend here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to Mr. Swamp Dweller and his latest story for you on Spaced Out Radio.
It was a warm summer afternoon. The golden shine of a setting sun bathed the grass and the trees in brilliant color. I and my friend Grant sat around a campfire, roasting shish kebabs and hot dogs. We were alone in the dense forest, the only ones at the campground. The fire snapped and popped as the sun dipped below the trees, casting shadows across the camp. Me and Grant shared scary stories and some funny stories. But then we fell silent. The sun was now out of sight and a feeling of fear had come over us. Then Grant stood up and declared that he was going to bed. He climbed into his tent and zipped it up, leaving me alone with a dying fire in dark forest. I sat for a few minutes, letting my hot dog char in the fire. That's when I heard a faint echo ring from behind me. It sounded like the wind, but sad and creepy. I turned around as chills traveled up my spine. Behind me was a dirt trail, and across it was a few skinny trees, while behind was a grassy meadow surrounded by forest and illuminated slightly by the moon. The meadow was foggy, and I saw a tall figure moving about 6 blocks away. It walked along with a very long stride, coming slowly and closer. I freaked out and ran to Grant's tent and woke him up. He groggily followed me out, and I pointed to where I last saw the figure. It was entirely still now, facing us. I was panicked now, and so was Grant. So we took off on the trail where our car was. We knew it would be a good 10-minute run. We tore across the trail, never looking back, until we reached our car, at which point we quickly climbed in and sped away. We were almost out of the campground when we saw a tall figure walk into the road ahead of us. Grant slammed on the brakes and I closed my eyes tightly, but when I opened them, the figure was gone. Grant was panting heavily. The creature had just vanished. He continued driving, slower this time. I glanced at the rearview mirror, and what I saw will haunt me forever. A very tall and skinny person with a red plaid shirt and blue pants. He had no hair, ears, or nose, but had an enormous stretched skeletal grin and two huge round white eyes that gleamed in the moonlight. He held out his massive hands for me to see, and in the palms was a symbol. It was a bleeding eye. I yelled at Grant to go, and he did without questioning, for he had seen the monster too. We drove out of the campground and was almost on the main road. I was starting to relax when I looked at the rearview mirror again and saw the monster chasing us on all fours. It was easily keeping up with the car and gaining. Grant sped up even more, tearing across the final stretches of dirt road. The end of the forest was now in view. That's when I heard a loud thump land on top of the car. I checked the rearview mirror again and saw the monster was gone. I shivered as I heard scratching sounds from above me. It was on top of the car. I looked at the window to my right and got a close view of its scarred and rotting face. It was leaning over the top of the car and peering into the window at me, craning its long, bony neck. It extended a finger and tapped on the window. Grant kept driving, and I just sat there too scared to move. Grant put on a sudden burst of speed and then slammed the brakes. The creature's legs went flying forward as it roared, hanging on with its thin hands. Grant sped away before the monster could regain balance, and it flew off backward. We drove the rest of the way home at high speeds. Ever since then, I've never seen the man in plaid again.
I never want to see that. How scary would that be? Having that monster jump on top of your car and chase you down. Definitely sounded like a skinwalker. Thank you to Mr. Swamp Dweller. Make sure you head on over to his channel on YouTube, Swamp Dweller. Hit subscribe and ring that bell for him as he is putting up great content. He's almost at 250,000 subscribers, and we'd love to have our listeners subscribe to him. It is that time in the night, once again, where we go to Dave versus Dave.
What's up, guys?
What is up, Mr. Dave? You're looking fantastic tonight, by the way.
Thank you, man. You're looking good, too.
Well, I can only do it because you and I are the lovely twins, Dave versus Dave, here on Spaced Out Radio, a brand new feature where we ask 3 burning questions of what is going on in this weird and strange world. Dave, how was your day today?
It was good, man. How was yours? I stayed warm all day, so I was feeling good.
I did not stay warm. We had a foot of snowfall today. A foot of snow. And after I battled for about an hour and a half in minus 20 degree Celsius temperatures with snow falling and battled with my snowblower right through, I took a nap. So I was tired. And I should have went and done it again. That's how much snow fell.
Oh, man.
Yeah. But you should know this. I mean, you know the climate.
Yeah. How long does it take us to blow the driveway out with a snowblower up there?
Oh, it depends. It could be up to an hour, hour and a half. Depends how thick the snow is, man. You know?
That's some cold work. Cold work.
Very, very cold work. And this is a new feature on Spaced Out Radio, Dave versus Dave. If you're on the radio side, you got to go over to the YouTube side of this, where me and my twin get together for 3 burning questions. What is your first question of the night, Dave?
You ready?
I am ready. I'm pumped up. Hold on. Well, let me just stretch a little bit here.
This one's been eating at me.
Uh-huh.
As John Hudson last night, as per what John Hudson said on the UFO report last night.
Yes, I remember.
Why do you think the Pentagon keeps playing games about the topic with this UFO thing?
Oh, man. I love your thinking. It's like you and I are connected. It really is like you and I are connected.
I think we are.
I think we are too.
It's not just good looks.
Keeping your tech teams on top of the latest developments is a monumental challenge. Helping them get answers to the urgent problems they face daily is even harder. That's why over 60% of Fortune 100 companies count on the O'Reilly Learning Platform. At O'Reilly, your teams will get live online courses, tons of resources, truly interactive scenarios and sandboxes, and fast answers to their most pressing questions. See for yourself what O'Reilly can do for your teams. Visit O'Reilly.com for a demo.
Is Whataburger's Honey Barbecue Chicken Strip Sandwich a work of art? The 3 chicken strips covered in melted Monterey Jack cheese are a study in contrasts and surprise, and the honey barbecue sauce, while at first unexpected, becomes a sweet delight to the senses. Plus, there's the 2 thick slices of Texas toast that are the canvas for this tasteful creation. And you can eat it. How about that for a masterpiece you can really bend to? The Honey Barbecue Chicken Strip Sandwich at Whataburger. Just like you like it.
Oh,
we got the brains, too.
You are a good-looking man, by the way. Very good-looking man.
Thank you. So are you.
I appreciate that. Well, let me tell you this. For a number of months here, I have been trying to expand our audience's knowledge on this, claiming, and I could be wrong, Dave, but claiming that there is this UFO Pandora's box sitting at the Pentagon that has all the secrets to crash retrievals, technology, communication, dead bodies, alive bodies of extraterrestrials. And I believe that they are in fear of any of these stories getting out. Because if they have to claim those stories as their own and real, this is where things are going to hit the fan.
Mm-hmm.
Deep, deep, deep. Okay, could you imagine, in that Pandora's box, you got to realize right now, the more the Pentagon tries to shut down this topic of UFOs, the more, Dave, that we as researchers, enthusiasts, fans of this topic, have to understand that we cannot, in my opinion, and a lot of people will disagree with me, but cannot exclude any type of conspiracy regarding UFOs. We can't. All right? It goes to Roswell. It goes to the potential, story of President Eisenhower meeting aliens at Edwards Air Force Base back in 1953 and 54. It goes all the way up to Bob Lazar, whether or not Bob Lazar is real or not, or David Adair launching rockets from his home a couple of states east all the way into Area 51. This is what opens up. It opens up what they know about crash retrievals. S4, what are they hiding at Wright-Patterson or other areas of that ilk? Look, as long as they are denying the secrets, these questions, we could say they're debunked. We could say there's not enough evidence or proof that this happened, but we cannot deny anything. Because this is more, and maybe you agree with me, Dave, or not, but I believe this is more than just UFOs in the sky. They have a lot to protect at a years, decades of information that they are not giving us or wanting to talk about. They are obviously, from Susan Go on down, their PR person on down, are trying to sweep this topic back under the rug. And when you try and sweep something back under the rug that's already been public, that means there is secrets. And it's not just about the technology. It's not about these craft that could go from 80,000 feet to sea level in less than 1 second, or pull 90 Gs at 43,000 miles an hour. It is more than that. And they don't want those secrets getting out because, Dave, there's a 330 plus million Americans who are going to be pretty upset with their government and their military if they know that aliens are here, are taking people, maybe experimenting on people, and the government knows that the public knows that they know. Your thoughts?
I'm going to have to agree with us on that one, Dave. Yeah, and knowledge is power. And with the government, they don't want no one to have, it's not just that they don't want anyone to have more knowledge or power than them. They don't want us to even have the same knowledge as them. They don't want us to even be equal. We always got to be that one step below with them. If they've got something to hang over us, then they know more than us. Maybe that makes them a little better, maybe, they think.
But think about this, man. If they have nothing to hide, if the Pentagon and all the alphabet agencies and the U.S. military have nothing to hide, why are they trying to bury the subject? If they don't know what it is, why not bring it to a public forum and say, hey, public, we need your help. If you've seen a UFO, if you filmed the black triangle, if you have pictures or video evidence of being abducted by aliens or aliens in your house, could you please send that to us so that way we can try and figure it out? They're not trying to figure it out because I believe in that UFO Pandora's box, they already know the answers.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts?
And I think they do try to figure it out, but it's for themselves. Like, let's say somebody finds some metamaterial and they know about it. They're going to go take that metamaterial from you and tell you, this belongs to the government now. But then they're not going to turn around and tell everybody, hey, look what we went and got from Mr. So-and-so. He found this metamaterial. He's seen this come off of a ship, a craft, an orb, fell out of Bigfoot's back pocket. But you can't have it. And then once they get it, they're going to study it for themselves. But then again, they're not going to tell us anything. So I think they do want to know about it, but they're just not. They send it out like the Men in Black. They're going to go out and get that information, and they're going to keep it to themselves. But they do want it, I think. They just don't want to share it.
I agree with you, man. Could you imagine, Sonny? Oh, who's Sonny? Who's Sonny? Dave, could you imagine if by chance the American government knows who is being abducted? What if they have let's be real woo here for a second. What if they have a list and they made a deal with the aliens for technology? And what if they have a list of the people who are being abducted? Could you sue the government if you found out they knew? That's a lawsuit.
You might be able to.
That's a lawsuit.
What if one of your family members that's been missing is on that list and you haven't seen them? I think somebody would get in trouble. Somebody's going to get sued.
I think so. I absolutely think so. There's a lot to lose, little to gain. Mm-hmm. Little to gain. Let's move on to hot question number 2 you got for me.
All right. This is a good one because we like Sasquatch, man. So this one's going to be, how do you feel about the Sasquatch debate? Whether him being an animal or is he supernatural? Which one do you lean
You're hitting a very soft topic for me, man. Very soft topic for me. I think there is something special with this creature. I really do. I know I might be in the minority about this, but when you hear the stories about the BFRO taking reports and editing them so that way, the UFOs that have been seen or the ghosts that have been seen, or people claiming that the Sasquatch disappeared right in front of their eyes, that tells me that something is going on. You listen to our guest tonight that we had that we just finished interviewing, Brian Niffel, who believes that after their tour up in Alaska, looking for these 10 to 15 foot tall Sasquatch, how they were able to just make things happen. I mean, that's just weird. We're either dealing with a very highly intelligent creature. All right? We're dealing with a highly intelligent creature that really is the apex alpha of its domain, or we're dealing with something that truly does have supernatural power. I don't believe in the Gigantopithecus idea. I don't believe that this is the North American great ape or monkey. It seems way too intelligent and modified for that. Add to the fact that, people have seen tracks in the snow that just end, and there's no exit point into the forests or into anywhere. There's nothing. It just kind of happens. So I strongly believe that, I don't want to say there's something supernatural with it, but I do think there is something very special about this creature that we just don't know about just yet.
Yeah. I know when I think supernatural too, I've been thinking that maybe these orb sightings that people are talking about, they might be supernatural. After seeing a few videos and stuff of them. And I heard somebody say something really funny today, and I was surfing through the channels, and I can't remember who exactly said it. I think his name was Charles. He said he kind of got asked the same question. It was a little something as the same, and but his was, did he think they were animals or paranormal? And what the response was, until he sees one fart out an orb, he's not going to be 100% for sure on which it is an animal or supernatural paranormal.
But I mean, the people
I thought that was funny, because a lot of people say when they see Bigfoot, they see an orb, and some people think he turns into that orb, and that's where your footprint's in.
That could be very much it. We don't know. The big thing for any Sasquatch researcher out there is you don't have to believe it's supernatural. If you're a hardcore science, hey, this is an animal kind of person, you don't have to believe it's supernatural. The one thing you cannot do is shut down any type of potential theories, because we don't know what the creature is. So even though you may not believe, researchers here have to realize their belief means nothing. My personal belief means nothing in regards to the creature. Right? It isn't. Yeah. But we can't shut the door on it until we know for sure. That is my biggest complaint. Question number 3. We got 2.5 minutes left in Dave versus Dave.
All right. I'll fire this one out there. That's not the same. It's a little different. Who are your top 3 researchers in the entire realm of the phenomenon?
Oh, that is a steep question.
Hope you can answer that one in 2 minutes.
My number 1 would be David Weatherly. Okay. Now, he is, for people who don't know David, he is an author from EerieLights.com. If you want to check out his books, he's written a lot of books with Ross Allison and others about all sorts of monsters and paranormal tales and UFO tales. He's most famous for his work with black-eyed children and the stories that go along those lines. Very well-grounded researcher. He would be my number 1. My number 2 would be Timothy Renner. Timothy is also an author who really keeps an open mind in everything. He has his own personal beliefs, but he has studied everything from Sasquatch to paranormal and UFOs and everything in between. And he really believes strongly, like David, that there is an interconnection between the two. My third one would be our good friend on this show, Ross Allison, who's more of a paranormal researcher. That's really his shtick. But Ross keeps an open mind that everything is connected. He has been investigating all over the world, and the evidence that he has created, he's not scared to push the boundaries of how to get reaction from spirits in different ways, whether it's doing paranormal investigations naked, or whether it's doing paranormal investigations with just women or just men or, singularly in a haunted house while everybody else waits outside. He's caught UFOs, he's caught other things. He's really starting to open up his mind. When it comes to researchers out there, if you want to believe who's doing the great work, look at the people who are looking into everything at once. Grant Cameron also gets an honorable mention on that, because one thing they do is they take a trail and they follow that trail right to the bitter end, whether it's nothing there or whether there is more trail to go. And those are the type of researchers that are getting responses. It may bring a lot more woo, but it will also bring a lot more interest in the subject and knowledge for what is going on. Dave, another big one down. Episode 2 of Dave versus Dave is through the roof. I'm loving this, man. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yep. Thank you.
Coming up next, Dave 101. Oh, yes. It is time to discuss individualism. Is there too much of it in research? Let's find out when we come back on Spaced Out Radio. We'll see who's reading it, Dave or Dave. We got Jerky Poo's news as well. You sticking around, brother, or are you going to go?
Yeah, no, I'll stick around. If you want to have me, I'd love to stay.
Yeah, you're always welcome to stay. Hey, there's the fedora-wearing John Hudson. Simon Wales, you have not been banned from this channel at all. There's no reason for us to ban you. We love you around here. Not sure what's happening, but no, 100% you are not banned from this channel.
You bet. Yeah, Simon's a good guy.
Simon's a cool dude. Solaire, how are you?
Very funny man.
Spaghetti Lee, your hair looks fantastic.
Hey, Spaghetti Lee.
Hey, Papa Willie, how you doing, buddy? The bodyguard.
Papa Willie. He sure is. He's still watching over us, but from the chat room.
The bodyguard. Oh, let's see here. Who else is here? Dijo.
Chad Smith in here.
Oh, Chad Smith is here. The Chad Smith. Mm-hmm. Tony D.
Oracle's been... Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Hey, you're allowed. You're like me. You're allowed to give some roll call.
All right. Well, Cassidy's here from Oracles and Beyond.
She has a name.
Grandmaster UV. Got a whole bunch of good people in here tonight, Dave.
Nice. By the way, I'll show you a little photo here. Where is it here? This is me earlier today. I'll bring it up on Instagram. Hold on. This is me earlier today after I just got finished snow blowing my driveway at minus 20 Celsius. Look at that. Look how frozen. The snow in my hair. You can see my mustache is frozen. My beard is frozen. My hair is frozen.
Our glasses frames are iced up, Dave.
Our glasses frames are iced up. Absolutely. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. We were cold.
Yeah, I'm getting cold just thinking about it. I'm starting to feel it again.
Oh, for sure. For sure. By the way, I'm going to be appearing on Super Quest show this Saturday. I don't think he goes live. I think he records it and then puts it out. I'm looking forward to it. Oh, it's a pro wrestling roundtable. I am so in. If it's old school wrestling, I am so in. I'm going to join that. I think Merle's going to be there too. Look at that. The minute we start talking UFOs, these Russian bots show up. We talked a Bigfoot for 2 hours. We had one bot.
I was trying to find him.
Yeah, I got him, buddy. I got him.
Oh, Sunsaver. How's it going, Sunsaver? Fap?
Nose on scent. Good to see you. Let's see here. I'm hungry. Do we have any apples in the fridge? Robert Lamke, welcome. Oh.
Snapple apple.
I'm going to grab us an apple after the show. Oh, by the way, I just learned, and I will get the dates, okay, that I believe UFO Con 2022 is going to be underway in San Francisco. I think it might be next month.
No.
I will find out after the show. And guess who's speaking there? Dave.
I am?
We are speaking there. Are you going to be my bot?
Yes,
you're going to come, right?
I guess I'm going to have to try to go to that one too.
Yeah,
I better be there. I'll have to
Yeah.
gas up that little Honda Civic or no, I guess we got a Honda CRV. It shouldn't take too long to get to Frisco the way we drive.
Oh, 12 minutes. Good.
Yep.
I just got to make sure I can get across the border. How many COVID sticks do I got to shove up my nose? They're not going to get there because my nose is so crooked, but that's okay. That's okay.
Our passport and everything's all in line, ready to go.
Our passport is ready. Our passport is
sweet.
ready. All right.
I think we'll make it across the border.
We got 10 seconds here, everyone.
All right, let's go.
Here we go. We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate it. Want to remind you that if you missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Now, for some reason, my audio for Dave versus Dave has disappeared. I don't know where it went. It's gone.
The one from...
Oh, hold on. Here it is. Here it is.
Okay.
Hold on. Let's do it. There's an old saying that there is no I in team, but there sure is hell in me.
Socks are the #1 most requested item at homeless shelters. Underwear second, and shirts are third. At Bombas, socks were first, made with comfortable details for everyday wearing. Then underwear, and shirts too, all designed to perfectly fit. At Bombas, every item you purchase means you're donating an essential clothing item to someone in need. One comfortable clothing item for you, one donated to someone in need. Bombas, comfort for all. Get 20% off your purchase at bombas.com/comfy.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Wait a minute. I've heard that before. That's the note Jeremy wrote to me in my yearbook in the 6th grade. How'd you even know that?
Because it's from Geico.
Yeah, wait, here it is. Dear Luke, have a great summer. P.S. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. Love, Jeremy.
Geico's had this tagline for years, because we help save people money.
So wait, you're saying Jeremy copied you? Yeah, that actually does sound like something the J-Man would do.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
In there, if you spell the letters wrong. The reason why I bring this up is when we go through and investigate these topics, one of the biggest flaws we have in this entire phenomena is we are not sharing evidence. But there's a number of reasons for that. A lot of people do not share evidence because of what happens on the internet. The internet is a cruel, stingy, mean place. if you want to provide evidence. It is a place where your video of Sasquatch or your photo of a ghost will get absolutely torn apart by a bunch of armchair critics who were not there to see the build-up to the story. That is what is wrong with this field. And it is individualized the investigator to the point where they don't want to share their information anymore. But we need it to happen. Why do we need it to happen? We need to be able to share our evidence, share our information, to see if others can investigate those same places in order to try and recreate the evidence that was found. It is a tough gig to do, especially with a field that is so very untrustworthy of one another. Friends become friends, then they become enemies very, very quickly in this field, all because you may have a certain disbelief than the other. It is individualized potential groups, paranormal teams, Sasquatch teams, UFO hunting teams. Every field has been individualized. It is not healthy to individualize anything. It is healthy to get other opinions. However, with the way the internet has been over the last decade or so regarding these phenomena, would you really put your personal information out there? It's a very tough call. I can tell you right now, I don't think if I had the smoking gun video of Bigfoot, that I would put it out. Why? I don't need the criticism. I don't need the headache. I don't need the threats. I don't need the questions about my own sanity or whether or not I know how to use Photoshop or video editing, which I do not. I don't know how this works. But if I'm in the British Columbia forest and I get that video, I'm keeping it out of the public. There are people I would send it to because I wouldn't want to individualize my work. I would want it looked at. I would send it to David Weatherly. I would send it to Timothy Renner. I would send it to Butch Witkowski, Ronald Murphy, David Paulides. The reason why I would is because I want affirmation from people who know more than I do. What I wouldn't do is release it to the public. Now, a lot of people would say that is the wrong attitude to have. If you have that smoking gun, you need to put it out there. You need to be able to get that information to the public. Let us all see it. Who is Butch Witkowski? Who is David Weatherly? Well, who are you? But we become so mean and fickle in this field, and it doesn't matter what you're investigating, that no one trusts anyone anymore. We don't trust opinion. We don't trust the way we investigate. We see it all the time. But in order to get the answers that we want, we need to be able to share the evidence, whether it's with scientists, whether it's with more experienced investigators. It doesn't mean you have to go public, but what it does mean is at least you are not hoarding your evidence or your findings. Look, we all want answers to what is going on in this field. We all want to be able to say, Bigfoot is real. Ghosts are real, and there is an afterlife. The extraterrestrials that are flying these rods, these boomerangs, these spaceships, these flying saucers, these black triangles, they are real. We all want it. We all want confirmation. But guess what? The majority of the public does not care. It's only the people who have special interest in these topics that we love that care. And believe it or not, we are in the minority. So the point of hoarding evidence and hoarding your information, hoarding locations, does nothing to help the field grow. If we want to help it grow, and sure, this may sound utopian, we have to be able to work with others. And not just people who agree with our opinion. We have to be able to take constructive criticism. For instance, with this radio show, You, the public, may not see it, but I have a number of people who critique this show, professionals who own radio stations, and radio critics who listen to this show, to tell me what we do right and what we do wrong. Which is why, every now and again, we switch up the format. That's the way we solve things to make things better and bigger and to grow what we do. When it comes to the paranormal, supernatural, the phenomena in general, we have this attitude that if we share that video, if we share those footprints, if we share the evidence that we get, that somebody's going to beat us to it. Somebody is going to ruin our day in the sunshine. Not true. Not true at all. For most cases. I can understand the fear. I can totally understand the want, desire. And hey, there are people out there that want to play alone. And that is okay too. But if you're actually trying to solve the mysteries of what we are doing and what we love, you need to be able to trust people. You need to be able to share locations. You need to be able to tell people, this is where I had my encounter with the aliens. This is where the UFO landed. This is where Sasquatch came within 25 feet of me. This is where the gnomes popped out of the tree. This is where it happened. Trust is something that is very, very few and far between in this field. Hey, I'll be the first one to admit, there are a lot of people I do not trust in this field. You do need to be picky. You do need to understand that there are a lot of people who would love to throw you under the bus because they don't agree with you. But they are the minority of us in the majority. How do we make it better? Find people who are professional in this field. Believe it or not, there are a number of high-quality individuals who do this full-time. Timothy Renner, David Weatherly, Ross Allison, to name 3. Why not go to people like that? It's not about the television stars, okay, just because they've had a hit series that they are fully trustworthy. Okay? And most of the time, their egos are so large, they don't want to deal with us minority investigators. Those of us who are below them, beneath them, because they are better than us. Unless we have something that they want. Then all of a sudden, they'll give us not 15 minutes of fame, maybe 7. They'll be our best friend for about 7 minutes. And then you're off flying in the wind again. But individualizing your investigations, if you're not doing it for yourself and yourself only, really does hurt the field. The danger of it all is this. What if you get hurt? What if something happens that you can't control? And even if you're with a team, what happens if another team has that same type of information and they want to correlate theirs with yours? Are you really that much of an arrogant person or team to not allow that to happen? If you are, you're not solving anything. You're not trying to solve anything, and nothing will be solved. Look, we as people in this field need to stay humble. We need to stay focused. And we also need to understand that when we are out in the field, we need to decide, are we out here for our own benefit or the benefit of the field? Because too many times we are out for the benefit of ourselves, but claiming to be out there for the benefit of the field. We need to keep our focus. We need to keep straight. We need to stay on par with what we are trying to solve. Look, you may be looking to solve something different than I am, but it doesn't mean that we're not going down the same path. We need to be able to do that. And to do that, you need help. You need other people, people that you can trust. Not people from your inner core, but people who are out there doing this professionally, who are trying to solve some of the greatest mysteries that this planet from us on a daily basis. We do not know the answers. We do not know what is truly out there. We want to know, but we have to team up to do it. The individual alone will never be able to do it. It's unfortunate, but it is true. And until people in this field start working together and sharing evidence, as utopian as it is, we will never find the answers that we need. And that is your Dave 101. All right, let's get straight to Shirky Poo and her news. We're going to start off here at Mount St. Helens in Washington State, where Bigfoot once again has been discovered by two men. Two men up Mount St. Helens film a dark creature that they believe could be a Sasquatch. The video was uploaded by Bigfoot Believers Only channel, attracted literally thousands of views and comments. Network experts have been talking about this video as well and wondering if it's staged or not. But there's only one thing to know if it's sure or not. Well, you got to go check it on out. So this video, once again, taken in Washington State. We're going to play it for our YouTube people, and I will describe it to you. I'll give you the play-by-play here. Let's go to it. What the heck? Hold on. Let me bring it up here. I don't know about this one. I really don't know. There we go. Oh my goodness, what is that going on there? There it is. This is apparently the video here where they show some rocks in the background. I apologize that it's flashing all over the place. I don't know what's going on there with that. But when they zoom in, they see a big, hairy creature walking through the trees. They're not sure. Looking at that video, it does look like a man in a Sasquatch suit. I'm not going to lie. It looks like BS. It really does. Not worth it. My bad. But we had to see the video. We had to make sure that it was happening. I give it a thumbs down. Dave number 2, what's your thoughts on that video?
I have seen a Bigfoot video that I thought was pretty real, and it was of a Bigfoot walking away. Total different motion. Had much, much bigger steps. So
that was very small steps.
Man.
Very small steps. I agree with you on that one. All right, let's move on to another story. In case you were looking to embark on a paranormal investigation this year, or know someone who is becoming quite obsessed with the spiritual realm, there's another little toy that you can pick up on Amazon. Yeah, Bakatan Reiseki, a color-changing device that can allegedly alert you, much like a medic alert. Remember, help, I've fallen and I can't get up? Well, it's just like that. Yeah. So you wear this color-changing necklace that is blue in color, but apparently, according to the Japanese company Solid Alliance who made it, the Bakatan Reiseki is allegedly going to turn this crystal red when ghosts are around. And it indicates via different colored lights too. Yes, according to a 2019 press release, the first model in Ghost Detector series was introduced in Japan in 2005, became a big hit in the subculture market in Japan. Lots of ghost reports were sent to the company and media. As a result, over 200,000 units were sold, but they've improved it. It now turns red with ghosts. I can see Jacob Rice on the Angry Ghost Hunter that we do on this channel having a heyday with that. I will guarantee you by the next Angry Ghost Hunter, final Wednesday of the month on our YouTube channel, he will have that device. He will.
I happen to know, this is one thing we do know, is that thing's like $50, $20 shipping, and Amazon is currently sold out. So usually when they're sold out of something, it works.
Well, Of course the public's going to want it. Everybody's going to want that. I want one.
Mm-hmm.
I want
one too. That's how I know.
Absolutely. I love the finger up like that. That was nice. Very nice.
You got to stop it sometimes.
All right, I appreciate that. A paranormal team investigated an old pagan-turned-Christian site in Inchigoil Island, wherever the hell that is, apparently caught a photo of a ghostly male with a white beard. Was it us? I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, there were a lot of pagans on the island prior to it becoming a Christian settlement around the year 500 AD. There is even a church that was built by St. Patrick and his nephew, Lugnod. All right, so the creepy photo was actually taken on October 30th, all right, by this paranormal supernatural group, and they were reviewing the evidence. It's actually kind of cool. They go on to say, as we believe the night of the 30th of October is the correct night of Halloween as it carries into the 31st, one member stated. We'll show the picture. It's basically of a shadow person with what looks to be like a poor boy's hat on. Apparently they chose good night as they captured some spooky evidence. On the right side of the photo, there appears to be a ghostly apparition lurking behind some trees. Oh, maybe that's not the photo. Where is the photo? They didn't even put the photo up here. You got to be kidding. That's not the photo? Oh, that's garbage.
I don't see trees. I see a shadow. There's no trees.
That's just garbage. How do you post a... Hold on a second here. Time out here for a second. How do you post a story about...
The second picture down, I seen trees and a face. Were they talking about that, or was it supposed to be a shadow?
That was all fake picture there. How the hell do you put an article about a photo up in a article online and not include the photo?
Yeah,
that is dumb.
That's a whole lot of buildup with no good finish.
That tests our intelligence, my friend. That tests our intelligence. All right, moving on. South Korea's ruling party presidential candidate has ignited a fierce debate, and Dave, too, you're going to like this one. The fierce debate is over this. He proposed that the country's public health care insurance cover the cost of hair loss treatment. Lee Jae-myung's proposal this week has triggered a flood of messages of support online communities for people suffering from hair loss, but also prompted accusations that it was a bald attempt to win votes. Bald attempt. Lee, the flag bearer of the Democratic Party, said almost 10 million people suffer from hair loss, but many of them order medicines from overseas or resort to prostate drugs as an alternative due to high treatment costs. So, he wants no more hair debates. He doesn't want his public bald unless they want to be. And that's all right. That is all right. Let's get to the thought of the Dave. Here we go. What do you do on a snowy day like we do? Sir Ken, pinch myself because I live in Houston, Texas. Sandra likes to sew. She makes mittens, by the way. Nancy, watch it on the news from Tucson. Kenneth, I cleaned my house. Andrew, I make castles in the snow. Mark, what's a snow day? Says the guy at work, because I had the day off. Bobby, make yellow snow. Joe, I like to look for critter prints. John, play video games. Fedora John, who lives in California, says, what's a snow day? Thank you to everybody participating in the Thought of the Dave. Thank you to my brother Dave and to Brian Niffel for coming on the show talking about Alaskan killers, Bigfoot. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAB, Revolution Radio.
Calling all partners. Losing weight is better together with Nutrisystem's Partner Plan. In fact, people who diet together lose 20% more weight than dieting on their own. Get new premium meals with up to 30 grams of protein. They're big and filling and taste delicious. Plus, try our new restaurant faves that taste like your favorite restaurant, portioned with half the calories. Don't wait. You could win big cash during Nutrisystem's Better Together Partner Plan 100K giveaway. And maybe win the grand prize of $25,000. Just go to Nutrisystem.com/thin right now and get 50% off plus an extra $50 off your first month. You heard me right. Go to Nutrisystem.com/thin right now and get 50% off plus an extra $50 off. Don't wait. This partner plan offer will not last long. Just go to Nutrisystem.com/thin right now and get 50% off plus an extra $50 off. Go to Nutrisystem.com/thin.
See website for details on our 2-month subscription offer. No purchase necessary. Open only to U.S. residents over 21. Void where prohibited. Runs December 25 through April 4th, 2022. For official rules, visit Nutrisystem.com. Sponsored by Nutrisystem, Inc.
Is Whataburger's honey barbecue chicken strip sandwich a work of art? The 3 chicken strips covered in melted Monterey Jack cheese are a study in contrasts and surprise. And the honey barbecue sauce, while at first unexpected, becomes a sweet delight to the senses. Plus, there's the 2 thick slices of Texas toast that are the canvas for this tasteful creation. And you can eat it. How about that for a masterpiece you can really bite into? The honey barbecue chicken strip sandwich at Whataburger. Just like you like it.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Thursday night segment here on the Outer Realm. We are broadcasting live on the International Public Radio, right here on United Public Radio Network 105.3 FM from the beautiful city of New Orleans. We are fully sponsored by the amazing folks over at Folgers Coffee. Thank you, Folgers. And, of course, Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon, a.k.a. Justin Snicker, who is an award-winning composer of Halloween horror, sci-fi, and dark wave electronic music, which is available on all platforms which stream amazing music. So thank you for your contribution to our intro and outro. Tonight, we welcome for the very first time Les Velez, who is going to be discussing his organization, Opus, and alien abductions and hybrids and so much more. It's going to be just fantastic. So, of course, as usual, we are on 8 different platforms. Tonight, you can find us on, of course, the Outer Realm Facebook. You can find us on Canada's Most Haunted, aka myself. We've got Joe Montaldo, UFO Undercover. We've got UFO Paranormal Radio, of course. And news on the flip side, we've got 2 of our YouTube, which is UFO Paranormal Radio and, of course, International Public Radio. And we are on Twitch on UFO Paranormal Radio. So I see we are all chiming in at the moment. We've got Doreen, we've got Tamara, and Steve. Hi, everybody. How are you all? So now we've got sound.
Oh my gosh, I had to get Mini-Me to come up here and do it because I had my phone next to me. It was connecting to my phone. I can hear you, but my voice was going out on my phone. So I took it's all
because the earbuds, is
the
that what it is?
microphone's gone. It lights up, but it doesn't work. So it's gone. And I haven't had it that long, so I'm not impressed.
Wow. Wow. We can actually hear you really well. So that's actually pretty good. Yeah, that works out really good.
I'm glad. It's the earbuds. So everything's not like nothing's working today. I think it's my energy.
Ooh.
I think I'm doing something to create that. Now the mouse works. Yeah, of course.
Right. Of course, Tamara says her earbuds died.
They died? Well, my microphone died, Tamara. We'll bury them together. I'll meet you in Burlington. Yeah, we'll just toss them in a cemetery. I've had enough of this. It's like one day I go to plug in my microphone, and when I unplug it, the head, like the piece of the microphone, stayed in there of the cord. The input, the shell stayed in there, and the needles, the points, the connectors came out. And I'm like, really? So I'm wondering if there's still a piece that's in there.
Oh, that could be. And you're just pushing it in.
You can't buy a cord by itself. Because I tried that.
That's always
so
dandy,
I'm going to have to bury it and maybe just use it as like an Oscar and put it on my
Nice.
What am I going to do with this?
Gosh.
It looks pretty.
Right.
But, yeah. So anyways,
Gosh.
how are you?
I'm good. I've been immersed in, research for the Gray Zone, and
Yeah,
it's going to be the
Saturday.
first show of the new year, and of course, it's going to be like phenomenal. So, providing my fearless co-host isn't like down and out from his booster. I know he's listening.
He's getting his booster tomorrow.
He had it. Yep.
Oh, he had it.
Yep.
I missed everything because I wasn't on in the pre show, so I missed all that.
So please know, people, the intention, of course, is to have a show.
You should be okay. I heard you're just tired from the booster. That's what I was told from
I hear it just kind of kicks the pulp out of you that way.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just, I hope so, because there's a hell of a lot of hard work going into this one, let me tell you.
I'm gonna check on my in-laws tomorrow because they went today, and the doctor actually called them to get it. But anyways, I don't approve or disapprove.
Right.
I'm just putting it out there. I'm neutral.
Right.
But I want to see how they do, because they are in that age that maybe they need a little bit more help.
I don't know.
But
the really elderly people seem to breeze through all of this. The rest of us are
my
dying.
in-laws are really good with health. Like, they're not ones to get colds and get sick and stuff like that.
Right.
So,
Right.
I hope so. They're doing well so far. So
far, so good. Knock on wood. So now we've got to read the bio, because our guest is going to be joining us.
Oh, I am so sorry. Yes,
No, that's okay.
I'm like
I know,
10 minutes behind everyone. I'm so sorry. Yeah, because that usually happens before we come on air. I'm going to have to read this from here because everything's down.
That's
My
okay.
whiteboard's missing. My microphone's broken.
Yeah, absolutely. Whatever's easier.
Yes. I put the whiteboard away for the holidays, and I don't remember where it is. So anyways, I'm looking forward to this conversation tonight. It's been a while since we had a guest like this on. I don't think we've ever had a guest like this on. Our guest tonight is a graduate of University of Vermont with a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration, served in the U.S. Army. Thank you, sir, for your service. As a field artillery officer in 1991, he joined MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network. He's held several positions, including field investigator, training coordinator for field investigators, and was assistant state director in Northern California, chairman of the Abduction Experiencer Research Committee, and leader of the Abduction Response Team, a facilitator for an abduction support group in San Jose, California. And in 1994, this is so exciting, he co-founded OPUS, the Organization for Paranormal Understanding and Support. So please welcome Les Velez to our show.
Soon as he gets here.
Oh, I thought he was here.
No, he was, because he's coming in, so I'm hoping he's not struggling too much. But Zach says, "Oh, hey everybody, just wanted to stop by on a date tonight with my lady. Can't wait to check out the show and play
cheers."
Back. Yeah, exactly. We'll let it go this time.
Yeah, we'll let it go. We'll let it go, Zach, only because you're with her.
I know.
We don't mind sharing.
Yeah, there we go. But this is lady mind. That's a whole other thing. So
it's his love of his life. So
know.
It's nice that they can go on a date. We can't go anywhere here. Just saying.
No, we'll leave that there. We'll leave that there for sure.
Definitely.
Okay. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. There we go. All right. Yep. So we are just waiting. I'm just checking my email just to make sure that there is no problems with done.
I need to start wearing color. You can't even see my hair.
Oh, it's terrible.
I'm just like one black blob.
Okay. Well, all we can do is wait. So it sounds really fascinating.
Opus, yes. I love the name.
Abductions on average seems to be a really popular thing to talk about right now, I guess, because, government is coming out now and sort of, making comments like, okay, yes, they're there.
Yeah, right?
Really?
Yeah. Well, they have no choice now.
I mean, UFOs, UAPs, for sure, because, there's videos all over the place. People have camera phones or capturing photos. I mean, I can't tell you how many we've seen just around here, you know, and just weird little things too out there. It's not necessarily just a craft whizzing by or, you know, bright light just hovering and shooting straight up. And sometimes there's these little things that just come right over like the hood of the vehicle and, you know, or right along beside you. And you're just like, it's at night and it's big, you know, bright thing. And you're just like, what the hell is that? There was one we thought it was like a Chinese lantern. It was just floating up in bright orange. And I'm just like, we sort of looked at each other and went, what is that?
What is that? My favorite video clip, whether it's real or not, I don't know. But it's really interesting to see this. There's a group of people on a flight and they're videotaping out of their windows. And this thing is shaped like a show Lost in Space kind of thing. So I'm imagining, hi Wing, I'm imagining it's something maybe of a vessel that they use to come from like the mothership kind of thing.
Right.
But to see so many people have that on their phones and freaking out, I have a hard time not believing that, you know?
Well, I just read this article, like just very recently, how the church was actually bringing priests to prepare the public for extraterrestrial visits or contact. And I'm thinking, how does one necessarily prepare? I mean, I guess for the faithful,
psychological, because that's what they do is psychology,
blah, blah, yeah, say it 3 times. I know.
We have to ask Bishop James because he was talking about that too.
Yeah, see, yeah. I mean, I don't know. We're taught to believe, you know, that we're the only ones here. I mean, literally, we're taught through our religious belief system for those out there. And there's many different, you know, religions. But on the most part, you know, the Roman Catholic Church, because, you know, that's how I grew up initially. And, you know, you're taught in school, Catholic school, no, 2,000 years, you know, ago, that's when everything started. Nothing else out there. We're the only grain of sand on the entire freaking beach. That's it. So, you know, it's like, wow, all right, not much of a beach, but okay, you know, and you know, but yet it's strange because even back then, I remember seeing UFOs pretty darn regularly. I remember as a child just running into the living room because we had a huge picture window, and I would just sit there because we were in a valley. It was up north, you know, there were no lights from the city. It was just beautiful.
You could
dark,
see everything.
Weren't loaded with satellites. And I'll tell you, and you'd see something, we'd see them regularly in that area. And you have questions and you don't dare talk about it because you were raised to believe no such thing. But now all of a sudden, the church is taking a different standpoint along with government. So, you know, it goes to show, you know, the Vatican being its own country, I guess, is jumping on board with various governments and saying, okay, cat's out of the bag, exactly as Tamara said, we have to basically come clean because otherwise I would think that you would lose faith in your institution, your religion, your government, thinking, you know, now you're telling us and, you know, you've been lying to us all this time and we've been made to believe that, you know, we're the crazy ones because these things are actually, they do exist. So how does the church prepare? They're being forced. That's interesting, Tamara. They're being forced.
To prepare?
Well, forced to tell. Tamara, why do you think that is? That's a curiosity. You know, so they're being forced. For me, it's like, I guess to a degree, because the public already knows. So what are you going to say when you see all of this stuff? Oh my God, I'm starting to talk like Siri. What are you going to say? What are you going to say?
I know, gonna, and to is really driving me crazy lately. Why is everybody saying to? To is not a word. It's to. T-O, to. It's
Maybe
driving me insane.
Just autocorrect. Honestly, she pulverizes me.
No, I mean, everybody's saying it.
Uneducated person on the planet.
We're gonna and
I'm gonna do this.
And I'm like,
I wanna.
oh my gosh.
You know, so all of a sudden it's a thing. You can't hide it from the public. Public knows it. Then you got those who don't want to believe it. So maybe having their priests come out, prepare people, don't be fearful. This is why we've been hiding it. We've actually been protecting you. But if you admit to that, do you not have to admit to the fact that civilization was here long before your 2,000 years?
Okay, when you say the church, you're referring to the Vatican.
I'm the Vatican, the Roman Catholic. I can only go based on how I was raised on the belief system of my family at the time, right?
I totally get that. But
Yeah.
Pope Francis, not that I'm a practicing Roman Catholic, but I was born and raised Roman Catholic, just like Michelle. Pope Francis has always believed and has always talked about it.
Right.
He's always talked about it. He's always been open. I feel
he's been the more open-minded of all of them, hasn't he?
He's not well liked by the older generation because of his open-mindedness. Yes, he is very open-minded. He believes everyone is God's children. He's more open that way.
Right.
But I have to say, depending on, I've had a lot of priests in my life that are, like similar age. So the belief system's different. And you can have a conversation with a lot of them. I find that when you have, let's say, some priests from different countries where they're very, very devout and strict and have a different cultural upbringing, that you will find that kind of hardcore, no, this doesn't exist. I can't work with this kind of thing. But when you I find that when you speak to priests nowadays in my area and in my church, it's a little bit different view, and the old Catholic Church takes on a different view as well. But yeah, as a church, speaking of the Vatican, they're very far behind. They've hidden a lot. They're just, with the government's opening, they have no choice. They really don't, and they have to counsel their parish, right?
Sorry,
their parishioners. They have to counsel them. So that's where that comes in.
Right.
I don't know how they're going to do with that when they barely acknowledge demonic infestations and exorcisms. And
I don't know. It is super interesting. Our guest just messaged. He's been waiting since 8:15. I'm like, you're not here.
Where is he?
I don't know.
Is he in the wrong studio like last week?
Shouldn't be. I sent this link, but I sent this one again.
No, what if he did what our guest last week, she had an interview prior on StreamYard.
I went into that one, yeah.
Just
but you'd be able to see the show, I would think. So I've sent him, this one again, and we'll see. But
it'd be interesting to see how they handle this.
Yeah, it will be for sure interesting. I'm real curious because it is sort of delicate. You're going to have people panicking. You're going to have people, then you're going to have your thrill seekers who are going to be out there like waiting and looking, and hopefully nobody hurts themselves in the process, but I think there's a real awakening happening right now. Thanks, Mark. And I think people, for the most part, and this is where a lot of people can agree to disagree, I think people are waiting on an average. There is an awakening happening. I think we're really underestimating some people. Not everybody wants to turn a blind eye. I think if people were properly educated, not everything is a vicious abduction. I think Preston Dennett, who will be coming back on this year, by the way, I think he specializes in giving really good extraterrestrial experiences.
and he's really good.
Yeah, and Joe has said many times too. I think it depends on whether you're resisting, what they're looking for, the age. Like, there's a lot of different theories as to why some of these things are happening. So, I mean, all we can do at this point is just sort of hope for the best, and I really hope that people can relax with it. I like that. I'm not one of them, says Bubbles.
And I like Tamara's comment. The Vatican has one of the biggest telescopes. That's because of Galileo, though. I think I agree. I think parishioners are waiting on their churches to accept this so that they know which direction to go in. Because when you're someone who follows a religion, you're following the lead, so to speak. Please don't email me. Because I'm Catholic. I get it, but you are waiting for that, especially if you're devout. You're waiting to see how you're supposed to deal with this, just like anyone who's constantly following government protocol.
There he is. Okay. All right.
Okay,
One
great.
second.
Yeah.
Woo! Here he is. Wow.
Yeah.
Hello.
Well, this has been an interesting day, hasn't it?
It
For all
is.
of us, Les.
All of us.
All of us.
Technology, everything. Yeah.
I went through 3 headsets, and Michelle had to go right through with the intro. Yeah, not good.
I know. And then we
Oh
couldn't
my
find
goodness!
you.
Yeah, the first connection link didn't work, or I was in there. I could see myself, and it said the host will let you in.
Yeah.
How weird.
Yeah.
That's yeah. It may have been just. It's funny because I sent the link to this show, but it might have just been latched on to the last segment still, and that show would be over. So that's why I like to make sure it's completely purged before sending it. And they were logged off, so I thought we'd be safe, but I guess not.
It was the Red Pill show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It
See,
was
I guess
still-
even
it
though
still
it was
ended
no
there.
longer live, I guess it still attached itself. So, well, you're here now.
Damn
Thank
them.
gosh.
Damn them.
I know. The party's ready to start. Okay.
There you go.
So welcome officially to the Outer Realm. Wow.
It's really been
And,
the outer realm. Okay.
And we both want to
Right.
say thank you for your service, sir. Thank you.
You're
And-
welcome. Thank you.
Oh, our pleasure. And let's sort of get started. I mean, you just have an amazing bio. Where would you like to start? This is the part where it's your show. You take it where you want to
Okay.
go. We'll follow along.
Sure. Okay. Well, I guess the best place to start is at the beginning. And for me, it started when I was 11 years old. And I was out one late October evening, and I was coming back into the house, and I noticed this silent, oval, whitish object slowly moving over the tree line near my house, and it scared the hell out of me. And I ran in the house. This was when I was 11 years old, and by the time I got my father to come out, it had gone, and he says, "Oh, it's probably a beacon of light reflecting off a cloud." And of course, I didn't buy that. So the next day, I went to the library and started to find some books on UFOs. And back in those days, those ancient times, George Adamski was the big hitter. And so I started to read his books and got really, really interested in it. And so I was into that for a while, reading books about UFOs. And then, I became an adolescent, and girls became a little bit more important in my life. So I, and then I went to college, and then I, went through the ROTC program at the University of Vermont, and subsequently got married and had a couple of kids, and moved out to California in 1985.
Right.
And I picked up the San Jose Mercury News one day, and Stan Freeman was going to go to San Jose City College and talk about UFOs and the government cover-up. So, well, that really was like the switch got thrown again. It was like I had really kind of forgotten about the whole UFO thing for many years. And then I said, okay, I've got to go see him speak about this. And I went to the college, and the auditorium was packed. I couldn't believe it. I figured there'd just be a handful of people there, but it was, like 300 people. And so he gave one of his inimitable, lectures, and so I really got jazzed. And MUFON happened to have a table in the foyer, and they were talking about the journal that they produce once a month. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to get the journal and try to get caught up on the latest events. Well, after a while, that wasn't enough for me, and I became a field investigator. And that's when things really got interesting, because almost without exception, the cases that I got involved with not only were but they were abductions that transpired after these sightings. And so these people would ask me, if I knew of other people having similar experiences. And I said, yes, I do know. And so the next thing, I'm facilitating a support group in San Jose. And that's when things really, for me, I learned so much from listening to these people tell their stories about, the types of events that had occurred with them, more than any book that I had picked up at that time. And this was in the early 90s when this was all going on. And one of the cases that I got involved with was a couple that had been picnicking in a state park just north of Santa Cruz. And they were coming out, and it was getting to be dusk. And this is a very hilly area of North Santa Cruz. And so they were at the top of the park, and they were walking down, starting to walk down. And they noticed this light over the ocean. And so this light, started to get bigger and bigger until literally it was over their heads. And that's when they ascertained that this was not just a light, it was a triangular craft about the size of a small Learjet. And so this thing silently proceeded to go into a canyon behind them and sat there. And then they noticed another light. Same scenario happened. And this thing eventually was over their heads. And the first, craft that they saw, they felt they were looking at it. And the second craft that came over their heads, they felt it was looking at them. And then they started to be concerned about the situation. And so after this happened 5 more times, these craft were sitting in this canyon, and then all of a sudden it was like they went around a corner, but there was no corner. I mean, it's just like they blinked out. And so they proceeded to leave the park, and at this point it was pretty dark already. And this path that they had to take out of the park, even during the treacherous, it was rocky and steep, and it was dark because it was quite covered by a lot of vegetation and trees, and so even during the day it was dark. And they felt like they were on autopilot. They felt like they were drifting down out of the park, and that's the last thing they remember until they kind of woke up at a restaurant that's typically 5 to 10 minutes away from where they were, and they had 3 hours of missing time.
Wow.
And so they eventually came to one of the support group meetings, and they had developed a rash on their body, and they had taken a picture of it, and they showed it around to the group, and almost without exception, they all said that they had a similar rash at some point in one of their experiences. And so one of the people, well, before that, they said that they had gone to a doctor, and doctor said, well, it's not poison oak or poison ivy, and there's a lot of poison oak in this particular part of the park, but it wasn't that. And then they went to another doctor, and they said, well, maybe some kind of a reaction to something, but we don't know what it is. And so one of the people in the group said, well, I believe I know what it is. And so we said, okay, what do you feel it is? And he says, well, it's a reaction to the fluid that they dip you in when they bring you on board the craft to sanitize you.
Wow.
So that was quite a revelation. And so, one of the things that happened shortly thereafter, I was written up in an article in the Monterey Coast Weekly paper, and about what I was doing for MUFON, investigations I was doing. And there was another woman that was written up in the article as well, and she contacted me afterwards and said, I'd like to understand what's going on with my brainwaves when I'm in contact with these off-earthly entities. And so I said, okay. And I'm saying to myself, scratching my head, that's why I don't have a lot of hair up here.
My father would have said it was because of me. How can I possibly help her? And then she mentioned that she was working with an emergency room doctor down in Carmel. And so that piqued my interest because I had a doctor friend in MUFON that was very interested in trying to connect with other doctors that were interested in this phenomena. And so I called him up and I said, I think we need to go down there and check with this woman, and because it sounds like a very interesting case. And so we did, and it was a Saturday afternoon that we had gone down there. And as we walked into her house, there was a picture on the wall of her standing on the back of a rather large vessel. And so I said to her, I says, what is this? And she says, oh, that's me standing on the back of this ship that these treasure hunters are trying to find some treasure. I said, well, what are you doing with these guys? She says, well, I was helping them. I said, well, how were you helping them? And she says, well, I was in contact with the captain of the galleon that had gone down. And so, okay, that's interesting. And she was extremely psychic, and she had become psychic after a near-death experience. And so the rest of the afternoon was amazing because she was telling us stuff about ourselves that there was no possible way that she could know. We were meeting her for the first time. And so we came away late that afternoon, saying, how can we possibly help people and in these types of situations? And so that's when our nonprofit organization, Opus, the Organization for Paranormal Understanding and Support, was hatched. And in 1994, we officially became a nonprofit 501c3 recognized by the IRS, which cracks me up every time I say that.
Right.
The IRS is involved with the paranormal.
Right. Yeah, but I think they do go hand in hand. Sorry, Amelia?
Sorry, we have a lot of feedback.
Oh, yeah, probably. Do you have any headphones, Les?
Do I?
Nothing. No.
Yes, I do.
Okay, that might cut back the feedback that we're hearing coming from you.
Oh, okay.
Just because your mic and your speaker are next to each other.
Okay.
So if we all laugh or we're all talking, it just goes.
Oh,
right.
Well, that's not good.
Okay.
Right.
That's
okay.
Yeah, that's all right. That's okay.
If you do, if you don't, it's okay. I'll just mute my mic.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I mean, paranormal and ufology eventually cross. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Perfect. That sounds great. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
Got my earmuffs on now.
No,
I need that headset. You just went
perfect.
from talking to radio voice.
Radio
Hello.
voice.
How are you?
Yeah, there we go. Perfect. All right. Now it's going to get
I used to do when I was living in Connecticut, did a radio program with on Fairfield University station, and it was called Jukebox Saturday Night, where we cruise the golden years of rock and roll.
I love it.
Nice.
I love it. I love that.
What song can we play for you, my dear?
Oh my gosh, I love that era. I could give you 100.
Anyway, so we doing that since basically 1994, And people have talked to me over the years about, well, you should probably write a book about this thing. And so finally, this past year, I wrote a book called The Unknown Other and the Existential Proposition of Alien Contact.
Wow.
And in it, I try to, first of all, give some background on the organization, but really go into the physical nature of contact, the psychological nature of contact, addressing the debunkers, as far as, well, it's false memory, it's, paralysis, sleep paralysis, other issues that come up all the time. And the bottom line is, it's so important that I finally got MUFON back in 2007 to really start looking at the abduction phenomenon instead of just being a nuts and bolts type of organization. And they finally tasked me to do a study. And I did that, and the outcome was the Omega-3 study, where we took 71 people that had been abducted or felt that they had been abducted, and 51 as a control group. And we found out some pretty interesting things. But I think the main thing was that they weren't fantasy prone and that they didn't have a psychopathology. So the questions to be, so what's going on? Are they lucid dreaming, which certainly is the case in a lot of cases. But then there's the cases where you have physical evidence of the abduction, whether it's implants or marks on the body, and things of that nature. People say, well, you need proof. Well, there's evidence that is irrefutable, that these people are experiencing something pretty damn dramatic.
Is it because there's a lot of theories out there with implants and so on? Do you, in your opinion, think that they're extraterrestrial abductions, or could they be government abductions?
Yeah, I think that, people talk, well, is it extraterrestrial in nature? Is it interdimensional in nature? Is it time travel? Is it the military? Well, I believe it's all the above. I think that it's all happening.
And percentage-wise, what do you think is the greatest?
I'm sorry, what?
Out of everything you've just mentioned, percentage-wise, what is the most common?
Well, I think that probably, certainly the grays come up more and more, more than anything. And then you have the orbs are the second thing that comes up. And then the third thing is interdimensionals. And the fourth thing is ghosts, poltergeist activity.
Right.
That is also, these things are all interconnected.
Like psychokinesis. Projection.
All of this is connected,
Right.
and we just don't fully understand it, and that's why it's so important for the scientific community to really, roll their sleeves up and get involved. And of course, that's been really difficult, for them, because of the laugh curtain that's associated with this topic, and being ridiculed, and you could lose your job. Look like John Mack. He almost lost his job. Working with these people that felt that they had been abducted.
No, it's true. I think now, of course, when, since the government has come out with their disclosure, it's being taken, at least that part of it's being taken a little bit more seriously with respect to the military's disclosure. When you talk about interdimensional beings, what falls under that category? Like according to your research?
Well, I think what it is like these portals will open up in people's houses. And an entity will come through. This non-human intelligence will come through,
right?
And so utilizing the word interdimensional is a very broad brush, but the bottom line is that they're, people talk about angelic beings. There's a plethora of descriptive used in regard to these non-human intelligences, if you will.
Right. Do you find that because you have you've got three groups of people. You've got those who don't believe in the religious terminology of angels and demons. You have those who, and they only believe in the extraterrestrial. No, a demon would be, let's say, reptilian. Like there's that counterbalance. And you have people in the middle who think, no, there could be each. There could be angels and demons, and they are separate from, let's say, a Palladian, or Andromedan, for example, might be an angelic being. What are your thoughts on that? Because you're dealing with the mindset of people, right?
Yeah,
I think they perceive based on their beliefs.
Sure. And it even gets more basic than that. I mean, you have the people that believe they're all good, and you have the people that believe they're all bad,
Right.
and whatever they are. And I think it's really a combination of both, just like we have here on Earth. We got good people and we got bad people.
Exactly.
And
That's the best way to describe it.
And the same thing is going on up there, or wherever you want to call that area. And so it's I don't think you can just say, they're only angels or they're only demons. It's probably both. It's probably both.
Oh, I've met people who are completely the other way. Everything is extraterrestrial. You've got one group that's like, nope, it's only the religious aspect. Other group, nope, it's only the ufology aspect. And then you have those in the middle that are like, no, they're pretty open-minded. They can believe that.
Yeah, and we don't have a definitive answer.
No,
we really don't. That's the problem. If we had a definitive answer to tell people, like, yes, it's only this, and then you have to deal with it in this way. Well, each situation is different, and so we have a plethora of entities that are coming in ways that are seem like magic, for us, because we just don't understand the technology that they're utilizing.
Right. Do you find that the bots are at it again? Do you find when it comes to abductions or contact experiencers, is it mostly, are they being abducted aboard crafts, or do you have those people that have extraterrestrials literally coming straight out of a portal right into their houses? Are they holograms? Are they?
Yeah, you have all the above. You have people being dematerialized, so to speak, pulled through, walls, through windows,
That's crazy.
up to a craft. You have, out of body experiences that people have, where they actually commune with these entities in that state. And so there's multiple ways that these things are occurring. It's not just one way. The portals will open up in a room, a beam of light will come through, and then what happens after that? That's also very interesting, because each of these things sometimes have different outcomes as far as, people that talk about really negative experiences, really dramatic physical effects that occur during examinations and being probed in various ways that are quite painful. And then others that don't seem to have that kind of a relationship or experience, more positive experience.
Does
And
it depend on the species, or is this?
yeah, well, I mean, it's like, I think even within species, it can be different. Depends on if you get a good guy or a bad guy.
Great.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Right.
you can't. It's very difficult to just put it in a box and say
Right.
this is it. This is the only way it can be.
Right.
Well, it's
It's not
Very
like that.
Hollywood. It's very
Yeah.
Hollywood to put it in a box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
Sure.
greatest fear, I talk about this all the time. I actually even brought it up to Stan Friedman like a long time ago, but
Mhm.
the movie The Fourth Kind, Michelle's gonna laugh. It freaked the crap out of me. I'm not going to lie. And
Mhm.
as many people that tell me it isn't real, I still believe that there's so much truth to those experiences.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you.
There's
Finally, because
no
seriously,
question.
it freaks me out. Yeah.
Yeah, and it probably should. It's the kind of thing where, and then if you're looking for to be included in the support group, we'll contact you and talk to you and get you into the group. And then
Mhm.
other people are looking for hypnotherapists, and we have relationships with the hypnotherapists around the country that we can refer people to,
Mhm.
which is, uh, some people, want to dig deeper. Of course, we always tell these people that, hey, you sure you want to really dig deeper because you may find out
Mm.
something you don't want to know.
Yeah,
Uh,
because you can't undo. Well, I mean, I guess you
i-
probably scrub it, but that's
yeah.
not the
But
case,
once
right?
once the
No.
paste is out of the tube, so to speak,
You
you can't
can't
put
get
it
it
back
back
in.
in.
Yeah.
No, and if you do, it's not the same way. It's really scary. I think that's why I've held back on past life regression, and a lot of people do because
Hmm.
they're afraid exactly of that. That's such a great point.
And that's
So,
past life. That's not even
That's not even this life and
abduction.
regressing to see if you have been abducted. So
well, I'm glad you brought that up because, well, let me give you a little story. One of the support group meetings I attended and facilitated. A person said to me one day, "I've seen you before." I said, "Oh, where at a UFO conference?" "No, no, no. I saw you on board the craft."
Ha! Nice.
And I said,
Oh,
"Okay." So I
great.
kind of blew it off. I said, I don't think so. It was
Oh, wow.
probably a year and a half, 2 years later, a totally different person said, "Hey, I've seen you before." I said, "Where? A UFO conference? Something?" "No, I saw you sitting on this bench on the craft naked and you were freaking out. And they told me to go over to you to calm you down." So then I decided, okay, you had, been abducted in a past life. And
mhm.
that's what people are seeing in
Mm.
some way, shape, or form. And reincarnation is something now that a lot of the people in our support group have been talking about recently.
Hmm.
That it's a pretty significant factor, and this goes to the fact that we don't die, folks. Our energy continues out into the universe, and then we can come back, maybe as a different person totally, or a different animal or something else. Who
Mm.
knows? Uh, but evidently, the more I talk to these experiencers, the more it comes up that we are. Uh, uh, have been reincarnated in many times.
Mhm.
Uh, and so it's very interesting.
Well, yeah, I mean, past life abductions also lineage, right? Because usually people who've been abducted have found out that, or contacted, because not everything's an abduction. Sometimes they're just contact. But it's happened to family members like parents, grandparents, great grandparents.
Oh,
You hear
sure.
stories in the woodpile that it happened somewhere way back. So that's,
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
wonder, you're
I mean,
getting kind of
besides
like some
besides
DNA.
generational
Yeah,
things, yeah, it's very prevalent
yeah.
that once people, and unfortunately, in a lot of cases, families don't want to talk about it.
Old school too, though, right?
they just don't get the kind of support that they need, or to find out that in fact their grandmother or even their mother or father,
Mhm.
was had an experience like that. And then you have military people that it's very common
Mhm.
to being abducted, and indigenous peoples
Mhm.
seem to be quite prevalent with regard to the abduction phenomena.
Mhm.
Uh, so it's so widespread. I mean, you guys probably know about the Roper report that was done back in the early 90s, where they figured out there must have been 6 million people that had an experience like that. And can you imagine today how many more people? And it's a worldwide phenomena. It doesn't happen here in the United States. It's all over the world.
It is. It is. And I think when you're dealing back with mindsets and really staunch religious belief systems going like back in the day, it would be hard to get them to open up about something like that, or maybe to even acknowledge it. I'm fortunate in my family that I could go back, like my grandfather, my grandparents would talk about it very
Mhm.
freely. Like, oh
Mhm.
yeah, we saw this or we saw that. My parents were the same. I'm the
Not my
same.
house.
Can't speak for my great grandparents, mind you, but they were
Mhm.
all very woo woo.
Yeah.
So who knows, like healers and things like that. So, but not all people are open like that. And sometimes they're held back just by the religious belief system.
No, that's true, and a lot of times when these people have had an experience, they can't even talk to their clergy,
Oh, for
members of
sure.
their church or anything like that, which it's sad. It's very sad,
Mhm.
and so you know, um, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to help people, and as best we can with either the online support group, the referral to hypnotherapists or mental health practitioners,
Mm.
and so we hope to continue down this path for a long time, and finally, the book that I just put out there, I try to put it on a level where people can pick it up and read it, and get an overview of what these people are dealing with,
Mhm.
whether it's the aliens themselves, what's going on with them personally, and what type of remedies there may be. And then in the book also there's about 25 stories from people in the support group that have told their stories, and there's some very interesting stories that people will find there.
Right, right. Yeah, we'll put it up on the page, and it can be found. Is it like I've got your website up on the page? Do they go directly to you for the book, or do they go to Amazon? Where do they go
Yeah,
for it?
they can go two places. They can go to our website, and there's the picture of the book on the home page. You click on that, and it'll take you to Amazon, and that's where it is.
Right.
And the Kindle version is $9.99, and the non-Kindle version is $20. And you
So
know,
very
as a
reasonable.
nonprofit, we depend on donations, and matter of fact, all the money that is received for the books goes directly to Opus. I don't get anything for it.
Wow.
It's
Oh,
just
very nice. Very nice.
That's generous of you.
Um, let's talk hybrids.
Mhm.
That seems to be a word that's coming up a lot lately. Hybrids.
It is. It's kind of thing where I vacillate back and forth on this thing, because, if you listen to Gary Nolan from Stanford University
Mhm.
talk about the fact that, well, we don't have alien DNA, so it's very difficult for us to say that this person, XYZ person, is part alien, because we don't have a sample of the alien DNA.
Right.
So then it becomes a factor of whether or not you believe what these people are saying
Mhm.
to you, that they've had an experience and they feel that they are a hybrid. Now, having said that, I don't know if you're familiar with a book called Rachel's Eyes.
Yes, I am.
Okay. So that's a fascinating story. And Helen Luttrell was in our support group in San Jose, and
Wow.
I know her well. And her daughter went to school with a hybrid, and
Wow.
the military was involved with it, bringing her food to eat, special food that she needed to eat.
Really? Tell us more.
Yeah, like
and
that's
and so they and so Helen's daughter was rooming with this person, and
Wow.
at I think it was Humboldt College in Northern California.
Oh,
Nice.
wow.
And so this military person would come occasionally and take her away and then bring her back. And finally, Helen went with them one time. There's a base supposedly in Nevada where a lot of these hybrids are being taken care of, and it's about 90 miles southwest of Ely, Nevada. And I've been tempted to go jump in a car and go out there, but I haven't made it
Be
yet.
a naughty lass and go out there.
I hope you have lots of cameras and friends and
Yeah.
security, because I
But,
can't imagine it'd be easy to cross that.
But and supposedly there's an organization in the military that constantly is retrieving crashed UFOs and aliens, and and then some of them, it's unbelievable story. Yeah, if you haven't read the whole thing, it's a fascinating book.
I have to read that.
Yeah,
Dave Petrella just tuned in, and he's asking exactly the question I was just going to ask. Dave, we
Yeah.
have that like telepathic thing going. He says, "Hi everyone. Do you know what kind of food she required?" So she never told you what it was, or
it was a specially marked container, and no, we don't know what was in it. We don't know what was in
So
it.
they obviously have a digestive system, hybrids, because
Yes.
she's eating, but she always ate special food. She never ate
Right.
normal like us.
Right.
Never.
Never.
Well, you
And she
kind
always
of stand out when you're not with your friends in college going for pizza and burgers. Like you kind of stand out. So
yeah.
I'm just curious at the fact that they would, if they have a base where they keep them.
Well,
would they
what
let
they
her
tried to
out to
do
be
with her,
exposed?
what they tried to do with her was to get her more acclimated to being with humans. And she had unusual features. She always wore glasses or some kind of protection over her eyes, and a large hat, and kept to herself pretty much all the time, other than when she was in class. But
a large hat.
yeah, a large hat. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's,
So
that's interesting. And from what I understand, like she didn't, they didn't keep her there too long, did they?
No,
She just sort of
no.
disappeared one day. So
Yeah.
they probably just pulled her.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So these things are, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I've never heard that.
That always pulls me back to the idea. Well, there may be hybrids, based on the fact that, but maybe she was basically an alien that looked enough like us that they could try to see
Get
if
away
they
with it.
Yeah, they could get away with it in a way. But
So
who knows?
what's your thought then on maybe hybridization happened a really, really long time ago with the Rh negative blood?
Yeah, that's an interesting fact. 40,000 years ago, supposedly the Rh negative popped up, and and then in the book I also talk about that, and the O negative factor is probably very prevalent in a lot of the abductees. That's like the number one, and then
Never been abducted.
Yeah. Okay. Are you sure?
Positive.
That's what I say. But you won't
let me
Positive.
look in my eyes.
My eyes are hazel. They don't fall into blue or green. They're hazel.
I have hazel eyes that go
Yes.
blue and green.
Yeah, mine don't go blue and green. They go more like an amber.
Mhm.
Amber and green. Yeah.
But it's such a fascinating topic. I mean, and it's can be the biggest thing ever if we can truly connect and understand what this is all about. And as far as the hybridization process, taking sperm and eggs and then utilizing it to create another being. What's the
What's being
ultimate
done now?
end goal? Are they going to take over the planet based
Well-
on the fact that they've done such a great job that you can't recognize a hybrid?
You might not. Maybe you
From
have the
you and I,
obvious. but
maybe the three of us are hybrids. Who knows?
maybe. You don't know that. That's just the thing. I mean,
Yep.
they could create a human being in a laboratory now, just for people who want to be parents. So I mean, I don't see it being a really difficult task, especially if they're taking negative blood type people who have already basically been in a way hybridized. And over time, I mean, evolution over 40,000 years is going to be pretty impeccable.
Right.
And here we are.
Not all are negative, right? Not all are O negative.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I think any negative blood type on the average, negative blood type is negative blood type.
Negative is another group that's very, very common as far as being abducted. So, if in fact they are doing this to eventually take over the planet, we should know that.
Yeah.
That's a fact that we should absolutely know. It's difficult to ascertain whether or not that's the case.
I think, could they not do it any other way? I mean, there's other theories like there's one I think it's called soul stealing, where they just take your essence and they can pop it into AI. They can pop it into like a whole other alien.
I don't have a whole lot of experience with that particular.
We interview a lot
realm.
of people.
But
I'm just spitting this stuff out. So
no, it's if you think about it, what is your soul? Is that
Essence,
your energy? Is that your essence? Okay, and if that's the case, when a person has a near-death experience, they float above their body. They can see their body. They can see everybody in the room. So
trap it.
Somebody could take that, and capture it and do with it what they will.
Look at, for example, somebody who's been in a coma for a long period of time.
Yeah.
And because I mean, we know you don't just sit in the vehicle when it's parked. Chances are you're off floating around doing your thing and just waiting for the body to heal itself or to be woken up. And there have been like step-ins. There have been people who have woken up and they have no idea that they've been married to this person for 20 years, for example, or that they have a family. They're just a totally different individual altogether, and they end up going on and having a totally separate life. Like it's not even, like there have been spouses or family members and parents are saying that's not even who we know.
Yeah. That's tragic when that happens. Absolutely.
It is. But if it's that easy for us to be in control, let's say, you get bumped out, somebody else comes back in, who knows what's out there?
Yeah. They talk about the fact that if these aliens are so intelligent, why are they continuing to do what they're doing? If, they could, have gotten all the samples they need, eons ago and just left or, did what they wanted to do already. But I think
they just follow certain families.
Well, I think it's like a classroom, for instance, where you have new young people coming up, the young aliens coming up, and you have to teach them. So you
Right.
bring them down here. It's like what we do with dolphins, for instance. You know, we go out in the ocean and we'll pull a dolphin out of the water and we'll take a blood sample and
Mhm.
we'll tag him and we'll throw him in the water. And then a year later, we'll come back and we capture the same dolphin and we
Right.
take some more blood and we check the tag, you
Mhm.
know, and we throw him
You're
back
not
in the
wrong.
water. And
Yeah, you're not wrong.
there's so many parallels to a lot of the things that we do here on
Mm.
Earth, but we're
Right.
not at the top of the food chain, folks. Uh,
Yeah.
there's a
No.
whole nother level and reality that exists
Mhm.
alongside or even
Mhm.
within our own space.
I want to be a blue whale. I don't want to be a dolphin.
Oh, okay. Blue whale.
Dolphins.
No, because blue whales, you can never find them.
That's right. They go down really low. But
They,
has your organization researched Carl Sagan's theory on dolphins? Speaking of dolphins, he believed he and other scientists formed an organization called the Order of the Dolphin because they believed that dolphins would be the key to teaching them how to communicate with extraterrestrials. And in saying that, there have been sightings of people who have seen like crafts hovering over the water and dolphins are congregating underneath them.
no, I've not heard that. That's interesting.
I almost felt when I read that, I was like, wow.
Yeah,
Because
no,
they're
that's
so intelligent, right?
yeah, they are.
They are.
They're very intelligent, and you know they seek help when needed. I saw.
Yeah.
Did you see that where a dolphin
the
had
diver?
some? Yeah, with a diver, and he
Yeah.
had some fishing line or something caught, and came
Mhm.
right over and knew exactly what to do. And
It brought the diver to his friend or his
yeah,
whoever,
And
his
saved him.
family,
Yep,
and
yep.
saved him. Yeah, it was
But they're
beautiful.
highly intelligent. But if you think even about how a dolphin communicates in its speech sort of thing, the sounds that it makes, there are some who have claimed that grays tend to sound the same. Certain species of grays with their clicking and clacking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that, Les. What kind of things do you hear from your abductees for sounds and language, or
Yeah.
is it telepathic, or is it sounds?
It's yeah, like 90% is telepathic, and
Okay.
yeah, that seems to be the common modality that is utilized. You know, a great majority of it. There are, you know, you said clicking. It could be some of the sounds that are heard, or kind of squealy type of sounds as well. But no, the majority is totally telepathic.
Right. Right.
Do they ever give a message, a common message with all of?
The one seemingly most common thing you hear is the fact that, hey, we need to be better stewards of the planet. You know, we
Yeah,
need to be
that's the big one.
better to one another. You know, and boy, do we need that during this time. Oh my
I
God.
know, right?
We
It's a
do.
crazy time. It's very
We
sad.
do. It's almost like they've left the kids in charge of the planet, of the house,
The
you know,
teacher
and
left
they're
the
like,
classroom.
and they're like, okay, we've had enough. Y'all smarten up or we're coming down. Don't make me go down there.
I love that. It's like having a supply teacher.
I think the kids would do a better job than what's going on right now.
I think so.
They are the saviors of the future
It's
planet.
true.
They really
Well,
are.
And that's an interesting point in and of itself. I mean, the generation that's coming up now are incredibly smart. I mean, I see my grandchildren and the things that they're doing at the age that they're doing it, it's like phenomenal. And you just wonder where they're going to be in another 50, 60 years. It's just incredible.
But where are we going to be in another 50, 60 years?
Well, I know where I'm going to be.
I
wow.
refuse to go there. No. You know, maybe again, it's like keeping the cycle going. So they're, you know, they are becoming more intelligent. Humanity's becoming more intelligent. And I think extraterrestrials, I mean, are they playing a part of that in a way?
Well, I
through
think
their
they're
abductees,
they're
contactees.
causing us to really, like the UAPs that were spotted by the Air Force, back in 2004 over the Nimitz there. That's causing people to think and say, what is that? How could that possibly be? It's beyond our physics.
Right.
To understand that, and so it is forcing people to reevaluate things. And certainly the abduction phenomena is a big factor with people, that
Mhm.
there's a whole millions of people that are experiencing this thing. And so
Yes.
what is that going to do? That is giving us a totally different worldview, a different
Hmm.
way to understand, our place in the universe, so to speak. And I think it's a good thing. And it's unfortunate that some people are having very negative experiences, but like
Hmm.
70% of the people that have been abducted don't want it to stop. They just don't want it to
Interesting.
stop. Uh,
How
oh,
can you elaborate on that a little bit more? Because before you came on, we were just talking about the psychological part of things, how the church was, bringing priests out to try to prepare their
mhm,
people for possible contact. So
mhm.
this is actually a really positive attribute. Like, if you can elaborate on
Oh,
that.
sure. Yeah. There's been a couple of studies. And matter of fact, I'm right in the middle of, we just finished the first phase of a study where we went out to therapists and had them take a questionnaire, which we're going to be publishing here shortly. And the types of things that they have dealt with people that have had experiences, and like I said earlier, predominantly the grays are involved. Then there's orbs, and then there's interdimensionals, and then there's poltergeist activity, which is interesting,
Mm.
associated with this. So
Yes. Yes.
the whole thing is just simply, it's it's hard to put,
But
this is
people are
this is
obviously
it.
having a really deep connection to these beings if they don't want it
Oh,
to stop.
yeah, and it's like three phases. Where the first phase is, can be quite scary,
Right.
disturbing. But then the second phase is where they begin to accept it, and then the third phase is, why is it stopped? It's almost like the Stockholm syndrome, where these
Oh,
people, are wondering, well, how come they're not coming for me anymore? Uh,
what did I do
but
wrong?
yeah, so these studies that have been done, it's 70 to 80% just don't want it to stop.
Wow.
So
Wow.
they've come to accept it and appreciate it, and they
Mm.
all don't. A lot of them in that group feel it's a very loving experience, that these beings are actually trying to help in some way, shape, or form.
Mm.
Um,
That's
which
good.
Yeah, which is good, which is good. And then there's other
Yeah.
people that feel, especially the ones that have had negative experiences, that these are lying son of a bitches, and that we should shoot them. You
Do
know?
you do you think they have negative experiences because they're afraid and they're
Maybe they're
creating something
fighting.
and they're miscommunicating, misunderstanding
That's
why they're there?
Yeah, that's a good question, and that's a distinct possibility that you attract what you are, or what you're feeling,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
if there's, but I don't know. I tend not to lean too heavily on that. I think that because these instances are very traumatic in the beginning,
Mm.
that no matter what, when hey, how would you like to come home and you walk into your bedroom and there's a gray standing there, and it's gonna freak you out.
It's
Well, ask
happened.
Michelle that question
It's happened. Oh, yeah.
because
No, it's
she's been
happened.
through it a few times. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Just, went to bed one night and I was just settling in and I wasn't even asleep yet. Then all of a sudden I look and there's a gray. I mean, I could almost reach out and touch it. It was so close. I could see like the little pores and the skin. And I really wasn't sure how to react. Because I had a lot of little things leading up to that. It's not like it was just there one day. I mean, I've been having childhood experiences. So, but I mean, there's been lights that have shot through the house, things like that. And so I just sort of looked at it and went, nope. And rolled over and just went to bed. Just went to sleep.
You think you went to sleep. You think.
Yeah.
You're not sure.
In my mind, I happily went to sleep.
And they could have given you that just so they could take you. Like, sure, you go to bed, but you're
I've
coming
woken up
with
with hands on my head, things like that. But I
I don't have those experiences.
4.5, 5 feet. Just sat there looking at me and it was like, nope.
Yeah, like you said, you had some previous experiences that
without a doubt.
kind of got you in a right mindset, so to speak. And
well, yes and no. There's still lurkers when they're showing up in your room at night.
Yeah.
So when you have that experience as a child, that's kind of like alien foreplay. Like
I don't know. I don't know, but there've been a lot of experiences. I think what sort of prepped us was just like there have been like we had at one time. This is a big Gothic revival manor house with walls 3 feet thick. And one day something shot through one side of the house and the windows just shook and it shot straight through right out the other windows and the windows shook. Wow. And we found out like later on that night that something came through and a car went off the road and hit the neighbor's house. Oh yeah. And
that night we were at the studio.
We were at the studio at the time. And so we're thinking, what did like something just shoot in front of this car and it veered off because it's a huge intersection. There's no way.
Right.
And
he took out half her house. Where this isn't just a crush. He went right through into her kitchen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like he veered off of this huge intersection. But there've been other times where again, I go to bed and there's this big bright light and it just shoots through the window. It hit one of the mirrors in the room, reflected, bounced right back out and shook the window.
Wow.
And I'm just like, shit, that was freaking amazing. What do? You see something like that, but that's not the first time. I mean, lots of things like that have happened. Did not expect to see, Buddy just pop up there one night, but
you yeah.
But
I'd be screaming.
You had a good mindset though, as far as this, it was something that was not something that you brought any baggage with you, so to speak.
No, but
in a negative way.
No, but I don't want to make it look like I'm a poster girl for this stuff either, because there were times where I was very much on edge, thinking like, okay, why are you constantly in the house?
Yeah. And what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's intrusive.
It is. And you, I think as an experiencer or contactee or abductee, I think you have to factor all of that in. Like, are you prepared to have your privacy invaded? This is a big house. So there are parts of it, the light bothers them. So there's parts of this house that don't get used. So we just leave it dark and all kinds of commotion going on all the time. But the house is also haunted. So we're like, who's at it now?
Who's here now? Yeah.
Guys, or is it the ghost? Like,
I think you should ask the question of the darkness, because you have that
fog.
Dark
fog.
Really dark.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds so familiar, doesn't it, Michelle? Almost like a fog.
Yeah.
I said that.
Yeah. I think that it depends on what you're dealing with. I think it can vary. I mean, so many instances where bright yellow lights or bright blue lights or precede entities coming in. Robert Salas, who I met at the MUFON Symposium in Las Vegas in July, actually sat down with me and told me he's an experiencer. He's had this bright yellow light all of a sudden show up in his bedroom, and he and his wife experienced it. And after this experience, his wife became a healer. She got the power to heal people, which is another thing. And then of course you have the opposite, where people have been healed by these entities as well.
Yes.
So this phenomenon is all over the place, literally,
Right.
from whatever type of a entity it may be to what people are experiencing with them.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
a beautiful thing when you get a gift like that, though, from them.
So
You know,
I guess the key is mindset, right? You will attract what is up here.
Yeah, I think that, that certainly people have preconceived notions of what, they may be dealing with. Some, this goes back, people were talking about angels and demons mostly, and nowadays it's aliens, extraterrestrials, interdimensional, time travelers, just like the Rendlesham Forest case.
Yes.
Supposedly it's us, 40,000 years in the future, coming back to
I've heard
collect
that
some
theory.
DNA or something to because they screwed up.
I gotta go back and fix your
Oh
error.
my gosh. You've got me like thinking everything right now, but I
Oh,
need
yeah,
to
we
take
have
a
to do a
moment to
station
do a
ID.
station
Oh,
ID.
sorry,
Or I'm
all
going
right.
to get into a lot of trouble.
Hold that thought, Les.
Okay.
Hold it right
You
there.
got it.
All right.
You got it.
You are listening to The Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and myself, Amelia Pisano. Tonight's amazing guest is the great, the awesome, the incredible. We are streaming live from the gorgeous city of New Orleans on 105.3 FM radio, streaming live right now on United, what are we on? UFO Paranormal Radio Network,
International Public Radio.
International. There's so many of them.
There's 8
UFO
streams right
gods
now.
and extraterrestrials all over Facebook, all of our groups, on our group page. We're everywhere. We are here courtesy of the amazing people at Folgers Coffee from day one, and we hope forever and ever. We love you, Folgers. Pour yourself a cup while you're listening to us. They are the best. Thank you for your support. Also, our intro and outro courtesy of the amazing Justin Snicker, Dr. Snick, the Sonic Surgeon. You can find his music on Amazon and Bandcamp, and you can find him on Facebook and Instagram. We're done.
Take a breath now.
Hey, by the way, I like Folgers coffee. I drink
Yay!
it every day.
That's
Every
it, right?
day.
Right? I'm
Every
drinking
day.
We need
tea
to
because
start
I've
getting
been.
our guests all cups.
I just don't have a mug.
Yeah,
I know.
I've been drinking tea because I've been sick for a few days, but
I
it's
know.
usually coffee that's here with us at
Uh-huh.
night. But
That was true.
yeah, they're
We
a great,
have
they're a
guests
great
in
company.
here, like, where's our cups?
So
Yes, I know.
you guys are in New Orleans?
We stream
Nope,
live
we're-
out of New Orleans. Yes.
Yeah, but we're in
Already
Canada. You
cool.
can't
Internet
see my
work.
flag.
Yes. Yes. So
Super.
yeah, it's
Gorgeous
good.
city. I
It's
can't wait
yeah.
to go there.
I got
So-
that's the one on my bucket list. I haven't been there yet.
Me too. Maybe
to
we'll
hook you
all
up
meet
with
there and
Joe.
we'll look for UFOs with Joe.
You should. He has a lot of experiences, and he served on the Nimitz.
Oh, did he?
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
he can tell you a story.
And he can tell you a story or two
I bet.
about UFOs. Yeah,
He has his
so
own group too.
I think he's under a gag order for one of them, but you might be able to get him to tell you if you're nice to
He
just have
released
a beer.
one on our show. He released one.
I'll tell you a cute little story. I was written up in the MUFON Journal a couple of years ago, and one of the questions in the journal was, who would you like to meet in MUFON that you haven't met yet?